All right. UFC London round 2 in the books. Sam and I are covering the event. No Hunter today. Sam, before we get into it, how are you doing? It's been a while, I think, on this podcast from you.
Yeah, had a lot moving and stuff and looking for jobs. Not too bad. It just started thunderstorming by us. It's kind of funny because I know a bunch because you know about that liver or that Manchester City Bayern Munich game that's going on at Lambeau right now.
Yeah.
So I guess they've already had 2 lightning delays.
Nice. Well, there's more lightning up by you than it probably had all during this event. Because let's be real, probably didn't live up to expectations. Now expectations were incredibly high because of what UFC London the first time around had done. Let's just start it off. Prelims, outside of probably Makayev showing that he's going to be really elite for being as young as he is. Jonathan Pierce does get a performance bonus with the only knockout / finish even of all the prelims. And then I actually really like the Nathaniel Wood versus Charles Rosa fight. I know a lot of people are kind of dogging it, but I thought that could have actually won fight of the night. Now, interestingly enough, UFC did not give out a fight of the night bonus.
Yeah, I mean, Wood looked dominant.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if Charles Rosa would have maybe had a little bit better of an effort, we could be talking about a fight of the night. However, I think it was one-sided, but it wasn't one-sided enough that you'd be like, this guy has spectacular performance. So he doesn't get the performance bonus. Unfortunately for Nathaniel Wood, he doesn't win the fight of the night bonus. So no bonus for him at all. Pierce, like I said, the only one from the prelims to get a bonus on the card. Outside of those, I mean, not much really to say. I think we're going to really just spend the time talking about the main card here and what that game.
Mark Gikatse looked good. You know,
yeah,
he's starting to get into that. He's starting to put that grappling in to his game. I mean, they brought it up on the broadcast and how much better he's looking at it. And
yeah, he's another one. He's improving quite quickly. And I believe the first fight of the main card was Odzimir and Craig.
Yep, Odzimir.
All right,
Craig.
so we also didn't mention that Klein and Jones. Again, it wasn't a night that, or well, really a day for us that really like stood out until there's 2 fights, 3 fights maybe, that made you kind of stand up and appreciate the entire event. But
I mean, Klein looked dominant in it, so
there was a lot of dominance on one side or the other, but it wasn't stand up finishing moves. It was just 15 minutes. Let me dominate, get the job done, leave. I do feel kind of bad for the fans that were there because you go to these events to hopefully see a finish or some very competitive fights. And that's just not what you got during the prelims outside of one finish.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the biggest things for me. Kind of feel bad for the fans on the prelims. However, I think that they kind of get to turn it around a little bit due to the main card, but maybe not so much starting off. Paul Craig and Vulcan Odzimir. Which, real quick, can we talk about how the ref looked exactly like Odzimir?
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if you noticed that. Like, Paul Craig, he also made it seem like he was going to come out here just guns blazing. And that was probably the worst fight that I've ever seen Paul Craig fight, as well as almost embarrassing that we had to watch that for 15 minutes.
I'll just say it. Paul Craig, that was embarrassing. You know, obviously you don't think you can beat him in the ground or standing up. At least go for takedowns and try and take him down. You just laying on your back and hoping he jumps on top of you for something. That's just embarrassing for me, especially because the ref kept on having to the ref probably told him to get up about 10 to 12 times in that fight off his back.
Yeah, it wasn't a performance that like left anyone being like, wow, this was good. Like everyone, I think, pretty unanimously pretty disappointed in Paul Craig. I believe the line was very, very heavily going to be a finish in that fight. Obviously, we don't get that. So it's a rough way to start that main card. I think that there was a lot of worry up until this point that this UFC London was going to be one of the worst fight nights, possibly of the year, which I guess you could still make the case. However, I will say the next fight, Molly McCann, Meatball Molly, absolutely terrorizes Hannah Goldie. She almost tried to finish it with another spinning elbow.
It actually says on ESPN that it was finished by a spinning back elbow.
Well, no, there was a lot more punches thrown after. And I don't even think the spinning elbow was what knocked her down. It definitely landed. It definitely did a lot of damage. But I think if she were to back off, like, that fight's not over. So I don't think it should be considered a spinning back elbow. However, still amazing. Then she jumps out, does her little, she likes to be a showman in probably the best way. Jumps out, UFC security's trying to hold her back. She runs through them, jumps into Dave Portnoy's arms. And then I heard that Dave Portnoy is in some pain right now because he just had shoulder surgery not too long ago. But
Isn't
good
she,
for Molly.
Isn't she a Barstool employee now too?
She is also now a Barstool employee along with Paddy Pimblett, who will get into a lot of
Presidente.
Yeah, that's why Presidente walked her out. Speaking of, what an outfit for him to be wearing. He looked like Mr. Monopoly out there. I don't really know what he was going for. I thought it was a good look though, being in London, really making the fans go nuts. No, I actually really liked that out of Meatball Molly. She then goes into the post-fight show, and while didn't call anyone out inside the octagon, said respectfully she would love to fight Antonina Shevchenko. That's one fight, and they want to fight before the end of the year. So I'm almost imagining that when you're someone like Meatball Molly or like a Paddy Pimblett, you need to be on the biggest stage possible. We do know UFC 281 is going to be at Madison Square Garden, where Barstool Sports is headquartered, outside of New York City. And I just think that makes a lot of sense. That has to be probably the next fight for Molly McCann.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for Paddy, the baddie, just because Paddy's a star.
And honestly, so is Molly now.
Yeah, so
I've never seen a female fighter that's not ranked get this type of love. And I'm not saying like Joanna Jędrzejczyk, when she was coming back, she was technically unranked. She got a lot of love, but someone that really hasn't achieved anything. She just knocks people out and does it in great fashion, and she just knows how to present herself and market herself. She's a star, whether people want to like that or not. She's probably the biggest fighter that's female that's not a champ right now in terms of popularity. Rose Namajunas, maybe.
Or Misha.
All right, fine. Greatest personality that's never been or is a champion.
Yeah.
I would say it's got to be just like that.
I did love when during the Paddy fight, they're showing her with the wig on, drinking Howler Head.
Great marketing. UFC knows how to do that. But before we got to the Paddy Pimblett fight, Nikita Krylov made quick work of Alexander Gustafsson. I didn't really like the matchup for Gustafsson. I know a lot of people were very excited to see him come back, but I hate to say it. I think it's time for Gustafsson to maybe hang him up.
I was excited to see it just because, I don't think I've ever seen him fight like live. Not that I was there, but like on TV.
Yeah.
And you'd see him in all the old UFC video games.
Dude, he's been a staple forever, which I mean, it's crazy because he's really not that old.
He's 35.
I know. But like he was fighting guys with John Jones, and he gave John Jones a tough matchup. He's probably one of the only people that ever did, outside of probably Cormier even.
Well, did you see what Cormier said? What Cormier tweeted?
No.
He said, "It's time for Gustafsson to hang it up."
It's sad. Good work, Nikita Krylov, because you're going to get a big fight now after that. No doubt. Not that this wasn't a big fight, because this is a huge name on a huge card, really. So, I don't know. Krylov, all the respect. I don't like, real quick, that the UFC has stopped using the Russian flag on when presenting fighters. They give it a little globe thing. I don't know if that was an error or if it was like,
no, it's not an error.
Coincidence. But like, if you're a fighter from Russia, like, I don't think they would do that to Khabib. I don't think they'll do that to Makhachev. Now, maybe
Well,
Krylov's decision, because I think he was born in Ukraine.
yeah, he has the Ukrainian flag on the ESPN website.
So I wonder if it was more his decision to just say like, hey, I don't want to be associated.
Yeah.
Which if that's the case, then that's fine. I have no issue. I'd almost rather him just put the Ukrainian flag though.
That might also be an ESPN decision more than a UFC.
Yeah, it's more the broadcast for sure. But yeah, Nikita Krylov, congratulations. You made quick work. It wasn't very competitive because it was so quick.
He
And
knocked him down 2 or 3 times in that minute and 7 seconds. So
I thought it was a really good fight for Krylov, and he proved me right. I had the bet on Krylov, easy money. Now into the next fight. This is the fight that we're going to probably talk about the most because it was probably the best fight. Paddy Pimblett, Jordan Leavitt. Jordan Leavitt was saying how he was going to twerk on Paddy after he got the victory. Then you had Paddy come back and say, I'm going to teabag him like Modern Warfare 2. A lot of things went going on before the fight. You had him fake a handshake and do the classic like behind the ear over the hair. And then you just have the entire fans at the ceremonial weigh-ins going nuts. The walkout for Paddy the Baddy is probably the most crazy thing that I have seen outside of a Conor McGregor walkout. Paddy Pimblett, and this is a crazy thing to say, is top 3 stars of the UFC right now, along with Sean O'Malley and Conor McGregor. When you see those guys walking out and you see those guys fight, your eyes are drawn to the TV. I don't care if you're a fan of them. I don't care if you hate them. You're going to watch that fight. I can't believe I'm saying that Paddy the Baddy then has the ability, and we'll get into the fight part, after the win, then takes control of the mic and legitimately had me almost tearing up. He had maybe one of the best post-fight interviews we'll see all year without it even being that crazy. He said that his performance was shit. That was not the real Paddy the Baddy. Now, I think he said that the last 3 times, so I'm not sure if that might just be the true Paddy the Baddy. But a rear naked choke for Paddy the Baddy gets it done against Jordan Leavitt, who said that he was the more superior jiu-jitsu and wrestler between the two. Going through the fight, what did you think after round 1 even?
I mean, round 1, I think it was obviously Leavitt that I had it 10-9 Leavitt. Paddy landed some good strikes in there. That knee was, oh wait, that was second round that got him down, was that knee was nasty. But I mean, he landed some good strikes, but Leavitt just had all the control in round 1. I mean, it could have went either way depending on how you were scoring it. Like Paddy obviously had the damage.
All 3 judges had it scored 10-9 Paddy, which I get. It's damage over control. We've said this many times on this podcast. I would have agreed if that's the case. Now, I think MMA scoring is flawed. But if damage over control is the rule and control is supposed to be a tiebreaker, then yeah, I would say Paddy the Baddy. I didn't feel confident after that first round, to be 100% honest with you, because I thought he got handled on the ground for probably the first 4.5 minutes. And when Paddy the Baddy figured it out that last 30 seconds, I kind of started thinking, like, I wonder if Jordan Leavitt's going to try to bring him to the ground again, because I think Paddy's figured something out here. Sure enough, early round 2, he gets it done. A knee to the head, brings him down, gets control of the back, puts him into a rear naked choke, which was sexy because he was able to get a leg triangle with his arm trapped
locked in
his legs. So he had no way to defend anything. It was just a matter of time of when Paddy wanted to end that fight, and he got it done. Paddy the Baddy then is now probably the biggest person that you can fight that's not ranked in maybe all of the UFC.
Do you think he's going to get ranked after like 15 after this?
I don't think so, because it's not like we were talking about Jordan Leavitt being ranked.
True.
Now, someone that I thought was a good fight for him, and I put it to Twitter, was Drew Dober next. Now, Drew Dober fights next weekend, so health could be a question. If Drew Dober gets the job done, or even if he doesn't, but he just doesn't get too badly injured, we could be talking about Drew Dober fighting again before the end of the next year. So I put it out, said, hey, why not Paddy the Baddy, get a real competitor? We saw what Drew Dober did against Terrence McKinney. Let's bring him against Drew Dober. And Drew Dober then replies to my tweet and says, I'd be down. So I guess this is almost a cash or dash. do we see Paddy Pimblett versus Drew Dober at UFC 281 at Madison Square Garden? And will Winners Only Club be credited with maybe creating a fight for one of the UFC's biggest, brightest stars?
I think Dober obviously has to take care of business next weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, that last fight against Terrence was a great fight. I think Terrence had him on the ropes and Dober just came back and absolutely obliterated him.
Before, like, Terrence, we thought could have been ranked if he beat Drew Dober. Drew Dober, I think, was ranked at 15 and just recently dropped out. So he's right on the cusp. You now have Paddy Pimblett right in that category. Winner of that fight is definitely going to get ranked then. So I think it makes all the sense in the world for an end of 2022 fight. Madison Square Garden seems like the perfect spot for a Paddy Pimblett fight.
Do you think that's a paper? Do you think if you're Paddy, would you rather be on the main? Because that'd probably be either the first fight on the main card of a pay-per-view or like
the featured prelim.
Or the featured prelim. Or would you rather have a fight night? Because I think that could be a fight night too, just with Paddy being a star.
Yeah, but I think there'd be something about it having to be at Madison Square Garden. Plus, he did say in the post-fight interview that he and Molly want to continue to fight on the same cards. We know Antonina Shevchenko is a pay-per-view fighter, whether she's on the actual main card or the prelims, which I don't think she's ever been on the main card. Barstool Sports, again, headquarters, New York. So they'll have all the Barstool employees at MSG. The press conference would be nuts because you know they're going to have to put Paddy out there.
Yeah.
My thinking is that main card could very well be Adesanya versus Pereira. So there's a lot of buzz already there. A lot of people already upset with Adesanya and how boring some of his fights can be. So if you add the firework potential with Paddy the Baddy, Drew Dober, and Antonina Shevchenko and Molly McCann, I think it makes all sense in the world for the UFC.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I understand he's the champ and he's a star outside of like an absolute star, but
it's going to be a
Vulcan
with at least 2 title fights, though.
Yeah.
So there's going to be another one on there.
Do you think, because it seems like Volkanovski and Adesanya like fighting pretty close together. Do you think Volk gets in there for a Do Bronx fight? Oh wait, never mind. Do Bronx and Makhachev are fighting the
280 in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Volk is another one that could be at Madison Square Garden.
Which would that be a Yair Volk fight?
We could be talking about Chandler versus Poirier on that main card, which is not a title fight, but it's a big 2 names.
When I heard that, I was so sad because you did hear who brought it up last. It was Chael Sonnen or like somebody, because honestly, I like watching Chael on YouTube. He makes a lot of sense on there. But I guess Colby's talking about 185 now and 155.
That's the other one. Could we be getting the
always important
165? Colby, also, wait, real quick side note. So going into the Jordan Levitt fight, Colby did his America's Pick of the Week, which this is an interesting little theory of mine. He didn't say a word, right? Had his mouth closed the entire time, didn't give his signature smile, and he used flashcards, just dropping them. He said that Jordan Levitt was going to win. Wrong on that one, Colby. Is there a thought that he got his teeth fixed? Did
Probably.
he have oral surgery and he couldn't open his mouth, but he had to give out those picks of the week?
I mean, you probably have to see it
there could have been some major swelling or something. He just knew he had to keep his mouth closed, just dropping flashcards. I think that's a real possibility. I think he could be getting ready to be in fight. Poirier had said that he has a contract signed on accident with the UFC to fight against Colby.
On accident?
Yeah, I guess it came out because he was pissed off, and I think I heard that he was drinking. And because all of a sudden they were talking about Dariush fighting Poirier, which we know that's not true because he's going to fight Gamrot. And I guess he kind of just spilled it and said, why are you like signed an agreement to fight Colby?
I mean, we all know who would win that fight.
And it's not Poirier.
Well, yeah.
It's not DP, let me tell you. America's champion is going to win that one. But no, into the next fight, which is really where this fight card took a real slight decline. Chris Curtis and Jack Hermansson, the Joker.
I thought Hermansson looked great.
Grow up.
Hermansson looked great.
I thought so too. Hermansson did exactly what you're supposed to do, and that's move in and out, attack when you can. He didn't put himself into any danger. Chris Curtis is just pissed that he didn't get into a firefight, which is his style, and he wasn't able to figure out how to attack.
I know it's not stats based, or you shouldn't look at stats, but Jack Hermansson threw double the amount of punches as him. He landed 100 total strikes, 100 significant strikes. Like, so Chris Curtis is pissed because Jack Hermansson didn't stand there and just get punched in the face.
Yeah. It's kind of a joke. There's no way that sorry, I'm looking at the White Sox score. That Jack Hermansson was going to do that. He was expecting to fight Darren Till, by the way. He wasn't even fighting Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis steps in. If Chris Curtis does beat Jack Hermansson's title dreams and anything that he wants is definitely erased, coming off of a loss already. Sean Strickland. He just had to do what he did. He got the win, moved on, and he's probably going to try to reset that fight either with Darren Till or go up against one of the top 5 guys in the division, maybe Derek Brunson. He's just had to win the fight. And that's what he did. He didn't do it in an amazing fashion, which for the fans, that sucks. But he did what he had to do as a business move and got the win.
I mean, speaking of middleweights that just made business decisions, I thought he was a lot more active than Izzy was in his last fight. So Hermansson, I thought looked good. He was initiating more of the action than Chris Curtis was. Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
He knew he was up 20-18. Scorecards then come out, say 29-28 on two of them, 30-27 on the other one. It didn't matter if he won that last round. So he just had to not get knocked out or submitted, which the submission was not going to happen. So he just had to not get knocked out. So that's all he did.
If you're that pissed about it, go obviously you're not supposed to be that aggressive with it because you can still get knocked out by Jack Hermansson, but at least do something.
It's the same argument when people get pissed at Floyd Mayweather for dancing around and playing defense. It's the fact that Floyd Mayweather knows that he got the points. If you have the points, who cares if you win by knockout or if you win by decision? A win is a win. Your record looks the same whether you knock someone out or you win based on points.
Yeah, I think it was a joke. I grow up, Chris Curtis.
And then the middle fingers thing, come on, dude, chill out.
Just because he did, yeah. So you're telling him he should have stood there and let you punch him in the face so you could get a knockout in the 3rd round when he was already up.
Yeah. And you know what? I love Eric Nixick. We're going to get him on the show sooner or later because I'd still talk to him. I'm sure he's not happy with Chris Curtis. Eric Nixick's a stand-up dude. He's the reason that he's back-to-back coach of the year. There's no way that Chris Curtis was trained to do that. Chris Curtis just didn't perform. So then he goes out and tweets, I was expecting a fight, not a track meet or whatever he said. Dude, that's also how Jack Hermansson fights. How'd you not know that going into this?
Or, in the broadcast when Bisping kept on bringing it up, well, if you can't catch him, you're going to have to speed up and actually cut him off then.
Yeah.
And he wasn't moving fast enough.
I don't know. Chris Curtis, I still like the guy, and I think that he's very talented, but that was poor sportsmanship, honestly, when losing that fight.
Yeah.
Into the main event, which wasn't much of the main event. It went 15 seconds before a freak injury. We get Curtis Blaydes, who gets the TKO victory over Tom Aspinall. Up until those 15 seconds, that fight looked like it was about to be an absolute banger for 25 minutes. And there's no way I was going to go a full 25.
I don't have that going outside the second round the way that they were going.
It was awesome for the first 15 seconds. Like, it was probably going to be the fight of the night. And then a freak injury where, if I think what happened, and I'm no doctor, is that Tom Aspinall went in for a kick. It did look like Curtis Blaydes did his best effort to check it. And with that effort, I think it twisted his knee just slightly. And when he stepped back, the knee locked and he went down. They are kind of saying already that it's likely not an ACL injury. Instead, it's probably an MCL injury. Now, it sounds pretty bad. However, the MCL only takes 6 to 8 weeks to recover, meaning he could be back in the gym working again in about 8 weeks. So we'll probably have more information before the show on Wednesday night, based on the injury. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be too serious of an injury for Aspinall. As for Blaydes, he does get a victory added to the record. He wasn't too happy with how it went down. He was very disappointed. Obviously not at Aspinall, but just the circumstances. And now he says he's just going to wait for the winner of Tuivasa versus Ciryl Gane, which I think is the right move for him.
Do you think this is going to go to a no contest?
All right, so here's the thing that's going to be the question. If this is a no contest, is McGregor versus Poirier 3?
I mean,
both are first round in a 5-round fight.
So the McGregor one,
you can't base it off
it was
4.5 minutes.
Stepping back. What?
I mean, it was 4.5 minutes, and it's not like it was a strike that. It was the same thing. It was a checked kick.
Well, it was him stepping back.
Yeah, but they were saying that he thinks he heard it when he checked a kick. Which actually, if you ask McGregor, he said that he kind of knew he was injured going into the fight. Which, whatever. I don't think it's going to be a no contest. I think it's just going to be what it is. It's not like Aspinall was undefeated in his career, so
yeah,
who cares? I don't think anyone's really going to hold this against Aspinall. I wouldn't expect his number to move. He was the favorite technically in the fight, but he was lower ranked.
And the guy that's at 7 is Volkov, which he dominated in this last fight.
So I don't think much is really going to change for him. I think it's just going to be a number. It's going to be a loss, whatever. Who cares? I think it just move on, get healthy, do what you got to do. As for Curtis Blaydes, I don't even know why he would agree to this fight based off the victory off of Dawkins. And then he fights another guy lower ranked than him. He should have always been waiting for the winner, I feel like, of Gane Tuivasa.
I think he wanted to be a little bit more active, and you don't know when that fight's going to happen because he has a loss against, doesn't he? He has a loss against Ngannou.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a loss against Gane?
No.
Okay.
Well, I guess if you don't take this fight, you might be fighting the loser of that fight, which doesn't put you in a better position.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he did take it. He won, but not in a way that anyone hoped to see. So I think you just kind of give him the, hey, thanks for coming out. You get the winner.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's gonna be an interesting situation for Curtis Blaydes and for the UFC to monitor. And I don't know. Overall thoughts on this fight card, though?
I mean, I thought the main card was, like I said, I didn't realize how early the prelim started, so I only caught, my earliest fight I caught was Wood. I mean, the fights I saw, they were all pretty dominant performances by one person over another.
Yep. The fight of the night really could have been Jordan Levitt versus Paddy, too.
Yeah.
It was probably the most entertaining.
Definitely wasn't that first fight on the main card.
No. But yeah, so that's UFC London round number 2 for 2022. I think that we're in for a treat next week, UFC 277. Stay tuned for our show that will release on Thursday this week, where we cover UFC 277 predictions and everything else. We won't be talking about UFC London during that, unless there's anything that might have come up, like the Aspinall injury news. So this was the quicker breakdown episode. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Shout out to our sponsor, Howler Head. You saw Molly McCann drinking it pretty much all throughout the night after her fight. And we drink it too. It's a good banana whiskey. I like to mix it with Coca-Cola. Shout out to BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Gamble responsibly, and make sure you guys are 21 plus in a state that is legal to gamble. And make sure that BetMGM is the only app you're using as long as it is available in your state or province. That's pretty much everything. We'll see you guys. Go like and retweet our Drew Dober news on @WOC Maine on social media. We'll talk to you guys later.
Yep. See ya.